Hey, today's lesson is on how to use the Pythagorean Theorem. Hopefully you've already watched the video on where the Pythagorean Theorem comes from, because that's going to help make this lesson make more sense. So we learned where the Pythagorean Theorem comes from. Now, why would we need to use it? Why did the Pythagoreans use it? Where is it helpful? And honestly, the Pythagorean Theorem is used a lot in construction. Construction workers use it to make a 90-degree angle. Remember that the Pythagorean Theorem only works on right triangles. It doesn't work on any other kind of triangle. It only works on right triangles. So your triangle's got to have a right angle in it for the Pythagorean Theorem to be able to work. So let me remind you that the Pythagorean Theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And a and b are going to be your legs. The legs are what forms that right angle. And c is your hypotenuse, the longest side of the right triangle. Again, sometimes I have students that would rather think of it as leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. They would rather say that instead of a squared plus b squared equals c squared. It helps them. So whichever way works for you, that works for me. So here I have a right triangle, and we're missing a side. We weren't given the hypotenuse of this triangle. Here's my right angle. So we know this leg and we know this leg, but we don't know the hypotenuse. So I'm going to plug this into our Pythagorean Theorem. One leg is 3, so 3 squared, plus the other leg squared has to equal c squared. Well, I'm going to show my work going down. So 3 squared is 9, plus 4 squared, which is 16, that equals c squared. And 9 plus 16 is 25, and that equals c squared. And so to undo c squared, we find the square root of it. The square root of c squared is going to be just c. And then we're going to find the square root of this. And so c must be 5. This missing side right here must be 5 meters. Okay? I encourage you at any time during the video, pause it and try it yourself. So maybe you just watch me do that, rewind it, and you go try it now. And we're going to do another one here, but I encourage you to pause them and you try them before I do them and see if you get the same answer that I do. Okay? Okay, moving on to the next one. And now that you see it, feel free to pause it and try it yourself if you want to give it a shot. But here we go. Here's my right angle. And so this is a leg, and this is a leg. And so I know the two legs, they're 9 and 12. And again, I'm missing the hypotenuse. So I'm going to do, let me see if a different color marker will work. 9 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared, the hypotenuse squared. 9 squared is 81. 12 squared is 144, and that equals c squared. 81 plus 144, that's a 5, that's a 2, 225. That equals c squared. So you have to think of a number times a number that equals 225. Well, to find that number, we just find the square root of 225. And algebraically, to undo a squared variable, you find the square root. So that's why I'm showing the square root to this side. What you do to one side, you do to the other. And so the square root of 225 is 15. And so this missing number here is 15. And I better stick a label on there. Okay. All right. Feel free to rewind and try that again if you want to. Here we go. On the next one here, this time I switched it up a little bit. Here's the right angle. So this is a leg, and the hypotenuse we're given it is 10. So we're missing a leg this time, so things are a little bit different. So here I've got a squared, because I don't know this leg, plus 8 squared, because I do know this leg, equals 10 squared. Again, I'm going to show my work going down. So a squared plus, now 8 squared is 64, and that equals 100. In my class, I try to teach my kids to draw that dotted line going down whenever we're getting ready to do algebra steps, going down that equal sign. So I subtract 64, and we'll subtract 64. We're going to work to get that variable by itself. So 100 minus 64 is 36, and that equals a squared. Okay, so I have to think of a number times a number that equals 36. Well, how do you find that number? You find the square root of it. So I'm going to square root both sides. The square root of a squared is a, and that's going to equal 6. So my missing leg is 6 meters. Again, rewind, try it yourself. Last one I'm going to do here, and you can go back and do any of them you want to again. Again, here's my right angle. Here's a leg. Here's the other leg. I'm missing that leg. I'm given the hypotenuse, which is 25. So I have 15 squared plus b squared equals 25 squared. Okay, well 15 times 15 is 225 plus b squared. 25 times 25 is 625. Okay, now I'm going to have to do some algebra to get that variable by itself. I'm going to have to subtract 225, subtract 225. This is gone, so on this side I just have b squared. On this side I have 400. Okay, so I have to think of a number times a number that equals 400. Well, how do you find that? You find the square root of it. So square root it. The square root of b squared is b, and the square root of 400 is 20. And so my missing leg right here is 20 centimeters. Okay, I hope this helps. Please go back and try them again if you would like, and replay it, replay it, replay it. Good luck with Pythagorean Theorem.